welcome to episode 12 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. My name is William Fitzpatrick, and welcome once again to the wacky world of wrestling that is this podcast. Now, for those of you who might be wondering about the fact of, where is the Takeover Chicago Speaks? I want to let you know, folks, that will be next week because of the fact that I want everybody to enjoy their Memorial Day weekend because that's what's coming up in this coming weekend. So instead, I'm doing my usual show with Sal Cusimano.
Hey, everybody.
And today we will be talking about WWE Backlash. Now, if you might remember, last week I had quite a lot of issues with how the buildup of this show had been. But I did say at the very end, either this show was going to be very good or it was going to be a literal train wreck. We have two very different opinions on this show because, surprise, surprise, I seem to be one of the few people who actively enjoyed Backlash.
Yep. And as for me, I thought it was better than I expected. But considering my expectations were so low, it still wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm. We will also talk about Evolve 85 on this show today because Sal was at the show.
Yep. Oh, man. Now, if you want to talk about a great wrestling show, no questions asked, that's your show. Heck, I'm going to recommend this to everybody. Go spend $20, go to Flow Sports right now, sign up, and watch that show. It is amazing.
So, do we want to talk about Evolve 85 first before we get into Backlash?
Sure, let's talk about all of the good that happened.
Mm-hmm. So, since you were at the show, how was it, how was the experience for you?
The experience was actually really, really cool. See, I should go into this. Evolve is something I've been wanting to get into more. It's just money's been kind of an issue, so I haven't been able to really sign up for Flow. But whenever I get a chance, I check out some of the free Evolve matches they put up. I keep an eye out on who does what, for all the guys. So seeing them live for the first time, that was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. So how did they start off the show?
The show itself, they started off with Alex Daniels versus Dominic Garrini, which was a sort of exhibition type match, like for some of their younger guys. And it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Coolness. So so this venue was at the Knights of Columbus Hall?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was actually pretty packed in there. I think we had, I'd say at least a couple hundred, probably at least 200-300, maybe up to 500. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And what was the next match after that?
After that one, it was the Tag Team Championship match, which at first wasn't a Tag Team Championship match. It was Austin Theory and, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this, Jason Kincaid versus the Doom Patrol of, a.k.a. part of Catchpoint, Chris Dickinson and Jaka, managed by one Mr. Stokely Hathaway.
Yep, Stokely Hathaway, who has been an absolute revelation over the last several years as an amazing manager.
Stokely Hathaway was one of the greatest things on this entire show. He had so much hate thrown his way. People actually chanted Charles Barkley at him.
I'm assuming he did not take being compared to the guy who never won an NBA championship very well.
No, he did not. Oh, no. I actually tweeted that I felt bad about how he was treated, and he actually tweeted back and said someone gets it. So he was happy that I felt bad for him at least.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Stoke was amazing. He was so good during this show. The match itself was actually really, really fun, really back and forth, really hard hitting. Mm-hmm. It was just so cool. I thought it was a really good second match, and the first match was also really hard hitting, and it was really quick, but it was good for what it was. So, those two were very, very fun matches. Great way to start the show.
And we had a women's match on this card, which was the next thing on there. Allison Kay versus Priscilla Kelly.
Yep. This one, it was pretty good, actually. It didn't have a lot of heat. Mainly, at least not at first. I do think the crowd, we kind of got into it. Allison Kay is from Detroit, so it was cool to see her. And the one thing that kind of took away from this whole show, and if for anyone who's watched it who might have heard it, who might have not have heard it, a bunch of the crowd after near falls throughout the night were chanting six, so it would be like 1, 2, 6. That came from this match because during this match, Allison Kay looked at Priscilla Kelly, gave her the pinkies up, which is like her thing, and she said six to her.
Mhm.
So that became a thing throughout the rest of the night. Kind of got annoying. But no, the match itself was actually pretty fun.
Mhm. After that was Donovan Dijak versus the man who has apparently consumed the entirety of Canadians' ego because no wonder Canadians are so nice because Ethan Page has all their ego.
Oh, yes. This match was so much fun. Like, this is where the show was already pretty good up till this point. This is where I sort of felt like it sort of picked up a little bit more. You know, it sort of went into that next gear. And this match was great. It was a lot of back and forth. It was very hard hitting. Very hard hitting. There's this one point where Dijak almost hit a chandelier on the ceiling because it was so low.
Mhm. And for those of you who aren't aware, Donovan Dijak is about 6 feet 6 inches tall.
Oh, yeah, no. The dude was huge. It was such a fun, hard-hitting match. And Paige, actually, at one point, Dijak had a guy who borrowed a guy's phone and was tweeting on it. And then All Ego Ethan Page took him out, took the phone, started deleting tweets. Everyone did the delete chant. That was fun. And then All Ego put that man's phone down his pants.
Oh, dear.
That got a "you sick fuck" chant.
Yeah, probably the person who owns that phone. I don't think that's covered under your warranty.
No, you really want to get that thing disinfected.
Also, you might be entitled for a brand new phone under a replacement guarantee plan.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that was a very fun match. It was just, back and forth. And oh man, I'm trying to remember. I think it was this match where Dijak busted out the burning hammer, or it might have been a different match. But someone did a burning hammer on this show, and I'm mad that I can't remember who did it now.
The next match after that is Tracy Williams versus Kyle O'Reilly.
That was fun. That was just total, grapple mat wrestling fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it was fun. The crowd got a little snarky here. And I mean, it was all in good fun. I mean, I got a little into it too, but we kept chanting O'Reilly Auto Parts at Kylo.
It doesn't help in Kyle's case that he actually used the O'Reilly Auto Parts logo as some of his merchandise.
Yeah, so, but it was fun. It was really fun. I thought Kylo was great. I thought that match was just a whole bunch of grappling fun,
And then we reach Basque.
Okay. Now, this was my favorite match on the card. First of all, you had Fred Yehai, who was great as like a small guy taking on the giant that was Keith Lee. And all in all, I'd have to say Keith Lee was my performer of the night. He was great. I mean, like, here's a guy who's 300 pounds. I'd say he's like 6'2" at least. Around 6'2". He's huge. He can move so well. I mean, this is a guy who can do drop kicks, he can do flips. Mm-hmm. He can do crossbodies. This is a guy who can move like a cruiserweight who is 300 pounds.
Indeed, he is a majestic cruiserweight, Sal.
Yes, he is great. And this whole match was Yehai trying to dodge Lee. And, and Keith Lee has so much charisma. Mm-hmm. Oh man, the charisma this man has. There was a point in the match where the Flow Slam banner fell down, and Keith Lee just looked at it and said two things: one, pick up my damn sign, and two, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was now bask in my glory. That's his catchphrase, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Keith Lee is a guy that if they push him right is going to be has been amazing and evolve already. They just took this guy who was in Ring of Honor and
was wasted.
They took half of these guys on this card are from Ring of Honor or were working in Ring of Honor, and they're using them.
Yeah, Ring of Honor wasted so much talent that Evolve now has. That is so good. Keith Lee was in Ring of Honor for years,
Well,
and they
actually,
did
for a year.
earlier, but but they didn't do anything with him. And then you look at him, and it's like, how did Ring of Honor do nothing with him?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this man. And here's the thing: I got to talk to some of the wrestlers after the show and before the show. Keith Lee, great guy. I've said this on Twitter. I said this before. He is one of the nicest people you could ever meet. Just a great guy all around. Great to talk to. Well spoken. Like really appreciative of the fans. Just a great guy and a guy you want to root for.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very talented. And I mean, I have to say, if Keith Lee's ever on a card near your wherever you guys are from, go to that show.
Mm-hmm.
Support him because the man is great.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool. And just like, and then we had a sort of what I've been hearing, a very weird WWN title match between Matt Riddle and Jeff Cobb.
This one was weird. It was very, very short. And it was sort of indie-rific. I mean, there wasn't just a lot. There just really wasn't a lot to this match. I mean, it was fine for what it was, but it was a bit of a disappointment after the past few matches. It was still fun, and I think Riddle's just is just a lot of fun to watch. I also got to talk to him. He's really cool, really laid back, really nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. And Cobb is kind of an oddity. He's a very good wrestler, but he works a certain style of Olympian style match, and sometimes that's good to work with, and sometimes it's a little bit difficult. But
I honestly think this match would have been worked better if they did more like an Olympian style, like you said, because Matt Riddle's trained in actual wrestling and in MMA. So he knows how to work holds and stuff. I think it would have worked better like that than the sort of indie-rific thing they did here.
Yeah.
Which is more big moves. I mean, the match was still fine. It wasn't bad by any means. It was probably better than anything on WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was probably one of the weaker matches on this card.
And then finally, in our Evolve title match, we had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Leo Rush.
Now, if Keith Lee versus Fred Yehi wasn't on this card, this would have been my favorite match on the card. This was another great match and a great, great way to end this. This whole story was, Zach going after Leo's bad arm because Leo came in with an arm that was bandaged up. It was so good.
And for those of you who don't know the prior story of this, how this feud started, Lilo attempted to out-technical wrestler this guy.
Yeah, and the thing is, he could go with him.
Yeah.
Like, even if he's out trying to out-technical him, he was right there with them. It was so much fun. Leo Rush was another guy who I got to talk to before the show. Another great guy, really fun to talk to, really nice guy. This was such a fun match. It was back and forth. And then when it finally ended, I was like, man, it was just a hell of a match.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, the live audience oftentimes gets to see things and feel things that a television audience doesn't get to see or do.
Yep.
And it's always so nice to go to an independent wrestling show because you might see things that you might have not ever expected, like wrestlers who are really, really good who aren't on TV all the time.
Yep.
That's why I always try to go to the independent wrestling shows in my town, whenever they have them. And, I got to see, like I mentioned a few weeks back, I got to see a mattress pin a professional wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you see awesomely wacky stuff like that. Sometimes you see like really good technical matches, like Leo Rush and Zack Sabre Jr., like Keith Lee and Fred Yehi, stuff like that. Kyle O'Reilly and Hot Sauce. I mean, this is the stuff you can see at indie shows, so it's always fun to take a trip and go to one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and for those of you in New York State, more specifically New York City, you will just get to see Evolve during the SummerSlam TakeOver weekend. Progress is coming in August.
Yep. Same day for both shows. We have some wonderful people in the daily who are doing both, so that'll be fun for them.
Yep.
Yep. But, but that show was a lot of fun. There was some stuff that happened after. Keith Lee came out, and since he had won yesterday on that past Friday, and he won on Sunday, which is when my show was, he was now number one contender for whatever championship he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He came out and looked at Sabre. He then decided, there. Then Matt Riddle came out, and then he had to make a choice. And then Catchpoint came out, led by one Stokely Hathaway.
Yep.
And Stoke was about to slap Matt Riddle when Kincaid came down and helped him out, and then Keith Lee got up and just did a limitless Tope Con Hero, which is a flip. He ran across outside the ring, did a flip over the top rope onto everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you should have seen Matt Riddle. He was marking out when he saw this. Like, there was no other way to describe it, and it was awesome. Like, that was the reaction everyone in that show had.
Mm-hmm.
It was so awesome. And then after that, the match was made. It will be Matt Riddle versus Keith Lee. Because Matt said, I owe you one. And Keith said, if you owe me one, why don't you put it on the line? They shook hands. It's on.
Mm-hmm. So for the WWN title, Matt Riddle will face against Keith Lee at a future Evolve.
Yep, probably the next one. But, you know. And, you know, Evolve's coming back in September. I've already got a ticket to that show, so that'll be another fun one, you know. But, you know, Evolve's a really, really fun company. They have a lot of very, very talented people, and this was just a great, great show.
Mm-hmm. I'm certain if Reverend Kane is going to be if Reverend Kane is going to watch this podcast, he's going to mark out on this entire segment because Evolve is one of the things that he writes about on his Sermon on the Mat articles that you can read on Cage Side Seats. That I absolutely recommend if you're looking to get into independent wrestling, you read those articles.
Yep. Seriously, I mean, it was just such a great show, and again, if Evolve's ever in your neck of the woods, go see them. They were a lot of fun. Tickets really aren't that expensive. It was like $40 for a front row seat. So, they're very affordable and very fun.
Yep. And now we will compare and contrast with WWE Backlash.
Yeah. I did not watch this live since I was at Evolve when this was going on. I am glad for that. Because I feel like if I watched this live, I would be far harsher to it.
I also didn't watch this live. I watched it the day after because, I could spend a day and watch this entire show on the Avatar Roku that I have and just enjoy each of the individual matches.
Yep.
I did not see the pre-show match.
Neither did I. I could not be asked to watch that.
Because it involves KM Journey's favorite wrestler, Ty Dillinger. Because if you've seen one Tyler Dillinger match, you've probably seen them all.
Yeah. I'm sure it was fine. I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't really care. I mean, I like Aiden more than Ty, but even then, I don't really care enough to go out and watch that match.
Yes, Things and Stuff was particularly not happy about the fact that Ty won over Aiden, who is one of her faves.
Yeah, which is a shame, but So, yeah, we both skipped the pre-show. I honestly could not be asked.
And because when I saw that the pre-show was an hour long, I went, okay, no.
No. No, just no. I have so many better things to do.
Like, watch this opening matchup, which is Shinsuke Nakamura's debut on the main roster pay-per-views against two-time world champion Dolph, why am I still here, Ziggler?
Yes, why am I still here? That is actually the greatest question for his career. Seriously, he should have just retired after that Miz stuff ended. Go out on like a high note.
Or go on the indies and do a Cody Rhodes. Whatever floats your boat, Ziggy.
Yeah, exactly. But no, this match. In ring, it was okay. It was fine. But the issue I had was that Shinsuke sold way too much. He got beat up way too much. It was way too back and forth. Like, you're trying to make Shinsuke, this is his debut. This is his first match on the main roster that you've hyped up for weeks. You should really try and make him look like a bigger deal, It was just, it just felt like way too back and forth and like way too close. Like, he was selling way too much. It should have, for me, it should have been like, I'm going to beat up Dolph most of the time. Dolph's gonna, come back and do a little cheat, get some heat on me, and then we'll go into the finishing stretch. that isn't really what happened. It was more like I'm gonna beat up on Dolph for a little bit to start it, and then Dolph's gonna be in control for about half of this match,
Hmm.
and then we do the finishing stretch.
Hmm. Yeah, this match went 15 minutes 50 seconds.
It went way too long. It should have been about 10 at most,
Hmm.
and Shinsuke should have been like beating up Dolph for like 7.5 of them.
Well, okay, that's a very interesting point. I honestly really enjoyed this match, but then again, it's because of the fact that I'm a little bit more familiar with New Japan style mid card matches, and this is what this was. Those kind of matches, because folks, WWE isn't the only company that does 50-50 style matches. New
Yeah.
Japan also does them.
Yeah.
And this was basically this kind of match because the minute that they started mentioning Dolph Ziggler's championship accomplishments, I went, okay, they're not going to do a 5 minute long squash because Dolph, last I checked, isn't Jack Swagger. So,
Yeah, it it just felt like they really should have had Shinsuke been more dominant here.
I
But
think
that's just
Shinsuke
me.
was dominant as he needed to be. I feel as though that what they wanted to do was basically say, okay, Shinsuke has been dominant in New Japan. He was IWGP champion, but this is WWE. This is the main roster, and let's see what Shinsuke can do here. He was very good in all of the spots that he did. This is actually one of the more entertaining Shinsuke Nakamura matches that I've seen thus far in his WWE run, as about as entertaining as the time that he basically almost decapitated Sami Zayn with a kick.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're really the only one who thinks that, man.
Mhm. But like, just like this was as good as I honestly think as his match with Zayn because that was basically about the same amount of time. I know that Ziggler isn't the caliber of worker that Sami Zayn is. I should make
Yep.
that very clear.
Yeah.
But I felt as though that the stuff that Ziggy did in his match was actually good. Some of the tendencies that I generally don't like about Ziggler, his excessive overselling, weren't present in this match.
Yeah.
And that made the match more enjoyable. He was trying to be more despicable. He was trying to be more like a heel in this match than just Dolph Ziggler trying to show off.
Yeah.
And I felt that the story worked in this case because Ziggy is basically trying again to is been put into a position where he has to either put up or shut up.
Yep.
And that shut up is Shinsuke decapitating Ziggy in the head.
Yes. You know. Yeah. It just felt, like whatever it was, I honestly kind of wish Ziggler did sell a little more, to try and make Knock look like $1 million, but that's just my feelings on it.
But if Ziggy tried to do his usual kind of selling, Nakamura probably would have gotten very angry with him.
Well, yeah, but then he could just beat him up more and look even more like $1 million.
Well, he already was. I mean, for me, he already looks like $1 million because he's already got the crowd in the palm of his hands. The
Yeah.
thing that WWE, I think, is making sure of this time around is that they do not want another Hideo Itami incident to happen.
Yeah.
Because we know that Nakamura is an older wrestler. We know that the guy has worked a strong style type of match. And while New Japan guys do take 80% off at house shows, when it comes to main event time, when it comes to the actual pay-per-views, they're 100%.
Yeah. Except for AJ Styles, who just goes 100% every single day of every single day of every single day.
Yeah. But Sal, you had issues with the structure of this match, the way it was done, and I can completely understand as to why.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I can understand why someone might like this,
Mhm.
It's just, it really wasn't my cup of tea. I thought he should have been presented better, but, it is what it is.
Yeah. But what Nakamura is going to be in, for those of you who don't know, he's going to be in the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, he'll be fine. It's just, I just kind of felt like it could have been better, I guess. I don't know.
I know, but people have I have sometimes people have very high unreasonable expectations about what WWE is going to do versus what they actually do.
Yeah.
And for me, I felt that this was exactly the kind of match that Nakamura needed to adjust to the WWE's main event style, to have a match against the main roster guy like Dolph Ziggler, and we'll see where this goes.
Yeah. Hopefully it goes to Shinsuke winning the briefcase, but
Hmm. Yep. And then after this was the Usos versus Breezango.
this was the one match on the card I absolutely loved. Now, don't get me wrong. In ring itself, it was average. It was just a fine, pretty fine match. It was the character work in this match. You had Brazongo, who are two comedy goofballs, and they were great. You had Tyler Breeze, who started this match in disguise in a janitor's outfit, who was mopping the ring, and it was hilarious. He then, halfway through the match, dressed up as an old lady and took on the Usos, the tag champs, and it was still hilarious. What made it work for me was that JBL just couldn't even handle any of this on commentary. Like, he had no idea what to say.
Hmm.
It was so fun, just so much fun, so funny. I mean, the Usos won, which I knew it was going to happen, but I was still kind of disappointed because Breezango has been so entertaining. But this was like a comedy goofball card match, but it was so much fun.
Hmm. I enjoyed this match, maybe not as much as other people did, but I felt as though that it was a fine enough match. I mean, for one of the few times I actually really enjoyed Tyler Breeze's character work in this because like he's mopping the ring, he's disguised as a janitor because he's undercover, folks.
Yep, he's undercover for the Fashion Files.
Yes, he's undercover for the Fashion Police Department.
Yep.
Although why he would dress himself up as a unfashionable janitor is,
He needs to get information on all the normie uggos.
yes, all the normie uggos. I mean, for me, I'm like, let's be very thankful that they weren't in Britain because then their supervisor in fashion up in Britain would be quite cross with them for wearing unfashionable clothing.
Yep.
And I'm referring to Ginny in this case, folks.
Yes, exactly. But no, this was so good for me, at least.
Hmm.
It was just fun, wacky fun. It's something we need more of.
Hmm. Yeah, we need more wacky fun. And just like, I love the reactions that the Usos did to this. And also their post-match promo was amazing.
Yes. The Usos not being able to handle half of it was just amazing. JBL not being able to handle any of it was even more amazing.
Hmm. And the ring work was really solid in this match. And I enjoyed what these two Breezango did, in this match.
Yeah, they were perfectly solid, perfectly fine. I mean, it was nothing, oh my God, amazing, but it was good.
Who would have thought that the sanest man in this match would be Fandango?
Yep. Seriously. And Fandango, he played such a great straight man in all of this.
Yeah.
It just made everything great because, you had Tyler Breeze being the absolutely wacky guy. You had the Usos who are kind of wacky themselves, but just getting angry. And then you have Fandango who's just like, meh, I know what's going on here.
Yeah. Let me jump out of the ring and dive on the Usos.
Yes, it was just fun. And this was the high point of the card for me.
I'm certain that when Kenny Omega saw that match, that the E-Pellet energy drink that he was drinking, probably he spat it out because that mop.
Yes. Oh, that mop. That was so good.
Because for those of you who don't know, Kenny Omega's gimmick is the cleaner, and he dances around with a mop and a trash can on occasion.
Yes. I wonder if Perry Saturn got mad.
When the mop was snapped.
Yes.
Yeah, the Usos once again sacrifice an inanimate object. An inanimate object who could probably carry one of the championship belts.
Yep. Yeah, but no, this was just a great match. So.
And it was only 9 minutes, 15 seconds long, which was surprising.
Yeah, it was as long as it needed to be.
Mm-hmm. And then after that was, okay, folks, about my feelings about Sami Zayn, the character. Sami Zayn, the in-ring worker. He was great in this match with Baron Corbin.
Yes, this match was great. And I think it was Vidance who said it, or it might have been Tanya Rogers. I can't remember who specifically, but they said, and I agree with this 100%, they said that Sami Zayn in winning did more for Baron Corbin than Dolph Ziggler did for Shinsuke Nakamura in losing.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sami Zayn, he won, spoiler alerts, but he sold his ass off for Baron Corbin, made Baron Corbin look like one dangerous, just brutal guy, which he was. The story of this match was that Baron Corbin is giant, and he's going to kick the living crap out of Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn isn't going to give up, and he's going to win, and that's what happened.
Yeah, because Baron Corbin, for those of you who don't know, really does not like, in character, these indie geeks.
Yes, he's sort of like, oh, think of if Randy Orton was an in-ring character. Like
Yes.
the actual Randy Orton was in ring,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Baron Corbin.
Mm-hmm. So when he sees all these little indie geeks on his show, SmackDown,
taking his spot,
yes,
he must punish them.
Yes, he must destroy them. I mean, he's already done his heroic feats by destroying both Apollo Crews and Austin Aries.
Yep. Yeah, but, it was a great match.
Mm-hmm. Baron's frustration in this match was the key point of the story. He kept trying to destroy Sami Zayn, and Sami would not give up. In the meantime, Corbin was tiring himself out in this entirety of this match. Although he also managed to pop Daniel Bryan by doing a bear hug.
Yes.
If you were wondering why this size monitor over in Arizona was going off, that was because Daniel Bryan was cheering about a bear hug.
Yes. And then that happened. And then Sami Zayn got his spot, and he hit the haluva kick and won it.
Yeah. He kicked Baron Corbin twice. Once with a regular kick, then with a haluva kick, and then just pinned him 1-2-3. The match structure was really good, and this is where the start of let's work a particular body part happened, because Baron Corbin focused on Sami Zayn's back in this match.
Yep.
Enjoyably well worked, even if I may partially disagree with the result. I feel as though that it was the right thing to do in the long run, because while they had been building the story of Sami as a lovable loser, you need to have him win a match at least a few times on a pay-per-view, okay?
Yeah. I mean, they don't really... I mean, they have AJ, they have Shinsuke, and now they have Sami, They have more faces than they had, but they still don't have a lot.
I feel like they have the right amount of faces, because if you have too many faces, then it kind of clutters up the card, at least when you make sure that you tier them correctly. Sami is currently right now in the number 3 face position with Nakamura and Styles.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if Sami moves on to the U.S. title.
Oh, Lord.
Yes. Speaking of the U.S. title,
actually, there was a match before that.
Oh, there was? Huh.
Yes. Things' team, Natalya, Kamala, and Tamina with James Ellsworth versus Charlotte Flair, Naomi, and Becky Lynch, who was wearing Bull Nakano hair.
Well, no wonder I don't remember this match. Oh, wait, that's right. I see, this match, it was just total nothing, really.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me, it's like, it was fine. It's just there wasn't much at all to it. It was just a 6-women tag match. And like 6 men on a any 6-person match on a pay-per-view, unless they're like really great workers, it'll never be anything special. And you really only had 2 really good workers, and they were both on the same team, so you only had one in at a time.
Mm-hmm. I honestly really enjoyed this match. I liked the fact that Charlotte was a total wrecking ball in this entirety of this match, of her being just this, she's big, she's gonna destroy you.
Yeah, like I hastened to add, I didn't think it was a bad match. I just thought it was like just average, just painfully average, really. Mm-hmm. Although I didn't like the finish. Mm-hmm. I don't like baby faces tapping out clean in the middle of the ring to start a feud. That it just does not come across good. If
it leads to something down the line, I think I'm going to be okay with that type of finish. Besides, Natalya's submission finally tapping somebody out for once is
well, that's even more of an issue. It never taps anyone out.
Mm-hmm. But then again, it's the sharpshooter. It's the legendary move of the hearts, and she can't get anybody to tap anyone out with this thing.
Yes. Until now, and it was Becky, right?
Yes, Becky.
Right. Yeah, so, it's probably the most over female. Maybe Naomi, but Becky's certainly up there.
She's over, but she doesn't have much of a character, unfortunately. And that's something that I've realized about Becky over the last couple of years, is that she does not have much in the way of a character. She says puns. She dresses up in steampunk outfits. Although she is starting to win me over with that ridiculous hair.
Yeah. Like with Becky, she has a lot of like character elements,
Mhm.
but she doesn't have a complete character yet.
Yes, it's so basically it's like your stereotypical anime character.
Pretty much, yeah. Side character at least.
Yeah, side character.
Yeah,
I
nice
do
side.
feel as though she's going to be entering the main story here pretty soon, but we'll see where they go with this. I mean, they could turn her heel.
They could. I don't know what happens. No heel turn, no nothing on the pay per view. It was just baby faces lose. So
I mean, I'm glad that they did something unexpected for once. They actually just had a standard match. That it wasn't just oh, this person turns heel in this match or this, because they've got TV to run and they've got also this SmackDown potential women's Money in the Bank match that might be happening.
yep. I also love how standard is now unexpected.
Yeah.
That just goes to show how jaded so many of us have become and how we're so expecting a heel turn at this point.
Well, I wasn't expecting anything. I was just expecting that there would be a match. And if there was a heel turn, there was going to be a heel turn. If there wasn't a heel turn, okay, well, then they're going to have it on SmackDown or one of the other future pay-per-views. We'll just
Yep.
wait and see. I'm very patient. Everybody else has kind of lost their patience at this point with WWE, whereas I'm going, okay, this is what WWE decided to do. We'll see what they do here.
I can see why people would lose their patience, though. They have not been very good lately.
Sure, but at the same time, that's because people have high expectations of what WWE does, as I said earlier in the show. Whereas I have modest to low expectations of what WWE does. The weird thing with me is that, as I have said on Speaks and numerous other podcasts, I didn't get into pro wrestling until about 2009, 2010, when I was about 18, 19 years old. So I don't have that childhood connection to pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I watched sumo wrestling as a kid. I watched World's Strongest Man competitions when I was a kid on any weird sporting event that was on ESPN at the time. But professional wrestling, as a child, I really didn't like pro wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a while to get into it. And when I found out that pro wrestling was scripted, that's when I got in, because I'm like, oh, so this is like really bad community theater acting. Okay.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Except for some storylines actually get somewhat decent and become pretty good community theater acting.
Sure, yes, exactly. That's when that become good, but I use bad in sort of an ironic way,
Oh, of course.
because some of this stuff is really good acting. These are people who are, as I said on the very first show I did for Cage Side Speaks, the Survivor Series show, these people were either too big or not ugly enough to join the drama club, and they really wanted to join the drama club. I used Mick Foley as an example because Mick Foley's dad is the head of the football of the sports teams. There's no way his son is going to be doing the drama club. Not until he goes to college, at least.
Oh, man. Yeah. But,
Also, I have a soft spot for one of the members of the welcoming committee, Tamina, who is one of Things and Stuff's faves.
Yeah.
And she was on the winning team in this match.
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. See, like, this whole card can pretty much be summed up with most of the matches were okay to meh, and then there was like one or two that I liked.
Mm-hmm. Also, I really enjoyed the fact that the welcoming committee all, like I said about Things, she really likes it when people actually wear pants. Yeah.
Yes, they all wear pants.
Yes. And, well, Charlotte and Becky need to get with the program because Naomi wore pants, but Charlotte and Becky didn't.
Well, we need more pants in this world.
Yes, especially in the women's division. I mean, okay, like, I remember mentioning of NXT Battle Royale, like, that happened a couple of years ago that I think had Eve. Yeah, that was when Carmella won that Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm.
Approximately about 90% to about 100% of the people in that Battle Royale didn't have pants.
No pants? Oh, come on. Their legs will get cold.
Yes. But, like, I need to, and this is the thing with me. I don't need to see everybody wearing pants. They can wear what they want, tights, shorts, whatever. But I need to at least see some diversity on the clothing front.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
not just everybody wearing the same kind of gear.
Yep.
You know, because you want to attract more people to wrestling. And not everybody is going to be okay with, okay, everybody's wearing trunks. Yeah, not interested.
Yeah. Besides, not everyone looks good in trunks.
Yeah.
But, speaking of people who don't wear trunks and who wear pants,
Yep.
AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens for
Yep.
the United States Championship. Now,
Long.
if you'll recall last week, I
Mhm.
thought this would be match of the show.
Mhm.
Well, as you heard earlier, I enjoyed Breezango far more. Now, that's not to say this match was bad. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good match that had a lot of filler in it.
Mhm. Yes, because it went 21 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, there was at least a good, I want to say like 7-ish minutes of filler in it.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like if you cut out about 5 of it, it would have been a lot better for it.
Mhm.
The finish didn't help things either, at least for me. I know some people liked it, and I get why they did it. But the finish was AJ Styles' leg fell into an open hole in the commentary booth and got tangled up in wires, so he got counted out.
Mhm.
I get why they did it. They didn't want to pin AJ or submit him.
Mhm. Yep.
I don't know.
And it was because the babyface made a mistake in this match. He
Yeah,
tried to do the Styles Clash on a table and instead ended up getting his leg caught in one of the holes.
yeah. So I mean, overall, I thought the match was pretty good, but it could have been a lot better.
Honestly, I thought this match was as good as I thought it would be. This was the one match on this show that I thought was just okay because AJ Styles decided to become Dolph Ziggler in this match and oversell like crazy.
Yeah, he tried to make Kevin look good. I can
Sure.
respect that.
And Kevin Owens was Kevin Owens. He was decent in this match, A good average free, maybe 4-star affair if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But like the thing that is important about this match is that it is going to SmackDown has totally revitalized Kevin Owens' character.
Yep.
This whole Face of America gimmick is amazing.
Yes, it is.
And when he deviates from it a little bit and goes on talking smack and just literally scares the bejesus out of everybody there,
Yeah.
this was a match that I thought was okay. I feel as though that it would probably be either 6 or 7 for the list. It wasn't by any means bad. It just was a very long match on a show that had some short matches, some moderate length matches, some matches that may have gone on for like 5 minutes too long. But your mileage will vary.
Yep.
For some people, this was the best match on the card for them because they like Kevin Owens and they like AJ Styles.
Yep. And they
For
thought
me-
all the stuff it worked.
Yeah, for me, I really like Kevin Owens. I'm starting to warm up to AJ Styles again because of all the antics that he did over the last few years, which made me dislike the man and put him on. He was one of 2 guys who was active wrestlers who was on my hate list alongside Mr. Seth Rollins. But his ring work, AJ Styles, the in-ring worker, he's doing good.
Yep.
Although he was cosplaying as Dolph Ziggler too much in this match, honestly.
Yeah. This match was nowhere near as good as I thought it would be. It was still fun though. So.
But this has been. It was the first time in a year that these 2 guys had met in a match.
Yep.
And I think that the next match that they'll do, which I think both of them are in the Money in the Bank match.
Yep, Kevin successfully got himself in on that on SmackDown.
Yep, and I think Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin are also in it, and as are Nakamura, and I think Ziggy's in it as well.
Yes, I have no idea why Dolph Ziggler was in it before Kevin.
Because he's a former world champion and can cash in on a opportunity to get involved in a briefcase match.
Well, sure, but so is Kevin.
Sure.
I mean, I know why they didn't do it in story, so Kevin could come out and point out and then get added. I'm just talking like in story terms itself.
Mm-hmm.
In the terms of story, why would you have Dolph in there before Kevin when Kevin is A, U.S. champion, B, won his match, and C, is been better than Ziggler lately?
Sure, but here's the thing. Kevin was the champion of the Universal Belt. This is a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, which means that the Universal Championship doesn't necessarily count towards getting a championship opportunity.
Yeah, I guess. But even then, Ziggler only won the World Heavyweight Championship. He never won this title.
Sure.
I don't know. It just seems a little weird, but I know why they did it. But
Sure,
on to the next.
Sure, he never won this kind of title, but it was the World Heavyweight Championship was added into the WWE Championship, so technically you could provide a proviso that he could get in that way.
I guess.
And then next after this was a really fun match.
This was Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, right?
Yep.
I thought it was okay. Like, I skimmed it mostly because I didn't really care because I had no build to it. What I saw was fine.
I really enjoy the Wyatt family stuff. I know other people have grown sick of the Wyatt family and have started yelling at the top of their lungs, "Why do you keep pushing Bray? Why do you keep pushing these people?" I know people want Luke Harper to get a push, and that they're not so sold on Eric Rowan, but Eric Rowan's character work has really won me over lately. I've always enjoyed his character, but the things he keeps adding to it are just wonderful. The story going into this match was that Eric Rowan wanted to get revenge on Luke Harper for betraying the family.
Yep.
And Eric Rowan asked for this match that Shane McMahon granted. And this, after dealing with a 21-minute and 10-second match, a 9-minute long Hoss Fest was something that the doctor desperately needed to order, and they did.
Yep. It served its purpose as the cool-down match on the show.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I feel as though that this was a really, really fun match. I enjoyed Harper's work in this one. I really enjoyed Rowan and his psychology. And, the mask. That mask is so wonderful. And it added character trait to his character. I love those little elements of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
It basically serves like Undertaker's urn for Eric Rowan.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this for the match. I like the finish. I like the outcome. Luke Harper wins. So
Yeah.
Maybe they are pushing him. Maybe they aren't. I don't know anymore.
I mean, at this point, everybody has gotten on the Luke Harper bandwagon and gotten off the Luke Harper bandwagon and then are sort of in between at the train station about Luke Harper. But I'm like, we'll see where they go with this,
Yeah.
At this point.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, I think this is like where a lot of people are right now. Like, they want to get invested in him, but they don't want to do it if it just means he's not going to show up anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And finally, in an alternative universe where Jinder Mahal is WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Oh, wait a second. We aren't in an alternative universe. This actually happened.
Yes, it did.
Yep. So let's get your thoughts on this one first.
So last week, I thought this would be terrible. I'll say this. It was terrible, but it was not as bad as I expected. And ironically, it was because Randy Orton cared. I know. A lot of you hearing that have just been utterly shocked because Randy Orton caring about a match in the year 2017 is so foreign a concept to all of us that I pretty much could have just spoken Japanese and none of you, it would have made about as much sense. Like, that's how weird it was. Jinder, and God bless Jinder, he's a really nice guy. He tries a lot. He really has been working hard and trying to get good. He's just not good. It's like, I don't want to be mean to the guy because you can see it. He does work hard. He does try really hard. He worked his ass off, and it's kind of like Kelly in a way. You remember Kelly, right, Fizzy?
Yep, I remember her.
Yeah. Like Kelly, for those who don't know, she was a women's wrestler back in the dark eras of women's wrestling, which was like 2010 to 2013, 2014, something around there.
Yep.
And here's the thing. She tried her best. Mm-hmm. She always put a lot of effort into everything she did and really tried to be good. Mm-hmm. She just was not good. Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel about Jinder.
Although her romance with the ring ropes was always a highlight of every match she was in, because like
She could not run the ropes very well, and that goes back to what I'm. She didn't really get any proper training in her defense.
yeah.
I mean, she always tried though, and that's where I'm at with Jinder. It's like he tries really, really hard to be good. He just isn't good. And I kind of feel bad being mean because, there's a lot of people who try really hard, and a lot of people who don't try really hard. Like, look at Randy, who usually doesn't try really hard.
Uh-huh.
And I just feel bad.
Okay, so this is match 6 of 7 as far as the matches that I really enjoyed on this show. I really liked the dual psychology in this match, because what WWE was going to need to do in this match was they needed to sell to both the India market that is watching this show and the US market that's watching this show. The psychology in this match was really well done, because Randy attacked Jinder Mahal before the belt, which means that they could rebroadcast it to the audience in India as Randy Orton pulling off a heel move.
Yep.
And then they made Jinder sympathetic to the Indian audience, because that's what they have to do. They're going to have to redub this, because they have the announcers there already. And if you have not heard the Hindi broadcast of this show, it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I haven't heard the translated version yet, so.
Yeah. Well, the announcers are so excited about this match, and they just have such enthusiasm for it. Because, look, I know a lot of people are down on Jinder Mahal, but at this point, with the recent controversies that Randy Orton has done with the whole Divegate thing and interacting with a wrestler from New Japan, WWE had to honestly make a title switch at this point. Because I know WWE thinks that they're the most dominant promotion in the world, that they're the biggest game in town. They seriously still don't want to get into a fight just yet with New Japan. Because they've got a guy at the head of the helm in Kiyanani who is basically Seto Kaiba.
Yeah. He's trying everything in his power. I mean, Kidani, for those of you who don't know about Ring of Honor and how bad they've fallen, they used to be one of the greatest independents. Kidani bloodletted them. He used them to make New Japan better. Well, better being subjective, but he used them to help New Japan get a foothold in the U.S. market.
Yep.
He's one of the biggest reasons why Ring of Honor sucks right now.
Well, that and Delirious.
Oh, of course, Delirious, good lord. Why is he still head booker?
Because for whatever reason they can't find anybody to replace him. Although they do have Christopher Daniels there as sort of a co-booker at this point.
Yes, and in his brilliant wisdom, he put the title on himself.
Go in the Vern Gagne route. At least it would make Reverend Kane happy.
Yeah, so, that's a whole bunch of no. But yes, I can see why WWE might not want to, because Kidani, he's ruthless, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, Ring of Honor and New Japan, they're ostensibly allies. They have a working agreement together. Mm-hmm. And this is what Kidani did. He used them.
Yes. He used them because they are foolish people who decided to blindly trust New Japan when they should have just, they should have been just at least a little bit cautious about this. I honestly think this is on both sides. Ring of Honor screws up constantly, and New Japan's like, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing here? Why are you booking it like this? And the thing is, Ring of Honor did not do New Japan right by booking several New Japan guys to lose in matches to some of their fellas.
Yeah. Well, that's honestly what New Japan screwed up, Ring of Honor screwed up the most on. They always book their guys to lose to New Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, there's such a thing as, trying to keep both companies looking strong and making sure no one, gets overshadowed. Mm-hmm. Ring of Honor apparently, or I guess New Japan strong on them into, no, your guys suck compared to our guys.
And to a certain degree, they actually are right on this one.
A little bit, but it doesn't.
Because when Silas Young is one of your employees,
Yeah. I think it's also telling that this crap doesn't fly down in CMLL.
Yeah, because to sidetrack a little bit from the Jinder Randy thing, this week in CMLL, there was a little incident.
Yeah, we'll get into that after we finish this.
Yes, let's finish the championship match. Anyway, I really enjoyed the psychology in this match. I really enjoyed how the Singh brothers were used in this match as basically guys to aggravate Randy Orton.
And get murdered by him.
Yes, because one of them literally almost did get murdered by Randy Orton.
Yeah, we're only slightly exaggerating here. Like the way Randy threw one of the Singh brothers into a table and the way he landed on his neck. Even after that happened, Randy lurked away and he just went like, like when you get that yeesh face, like, oh God, I messed up. Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
That is the face he had. It was totally like, holy crap, I almost killed a man.
Yes, but thankfully the Singh brother actually corrected himself in midair and actually landed in such a way that he wouldn't hurt himself.
Yes. So he's still alive.
Yep.
And Jinder won the belt. And, I mean, there's suddenly a lot of Jinder fans I never knew existed now.
Well, I think that they're being Jinder fans ironically in a way.
Yeah, that's my point. They're totally ironic with it, and people are all like, "Yeah, suck it, they won." Yeah, and then it's like, really,
Yeah.
Jinder, really.
Well, here's the thing for our audience at home. I am a Jinder Mahal fan, and I'm not a Jinder Mahal fan ironically. I've been a fan of his since his days on SmackDown when he was trying to control the Great Khali. I've been a fan of his since his days in Free MB. I've always been a Jinder Mahal fan. I've always found him to be a very likable individual with surprisingly good acting skills.
Yeah.
His comedy and his promo segments are always really fun to see him do. And here's the thing. I love the post-match stuff, but I also enjoyed the fact that they also... Remember how we were talking about, that they were focusing on a specific body part in every part of the matches? With Sane and Corbin, they were focusing on the back. With Styles Owens, they were focusing on AJ Styles' leg. With Mahal Orton, they focused on Randy Orton's bad shoulder.
Yep.
The two things I enjoyed the most about this match were the psychology of Jinder focusing on Orton's shoulder and them using Randy Orton's temper to their advantage.
They did do that.
Yes. So those two elements of that match worked really, really well. And for an audience who is brand new to WWE with their network, because as we've said before last week, the network just recently launched in India.
Yep.
So for them to bring out those story elements, to layer the story so that it is acceptable for both the India audience and the English audience who want to boo the bejesus out of Jinder Mahal, this match worked for me. This did exactly what it needed to do. It got Jinder Mahal the belt, the championship belt. The celebratory nature like I said before, the Indian commentary team is fantastic in how they basically go, India number one, India number one.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome to see. And I know that people really hate foreign wrestling heels. I don't view Jinder Mahal as a heel in this. Sorry. He's clearly a face to me. Despite what he says and what he does, I think Jinder Mahal was the face in this match.
Oh, well, that's the thing. A lot of people hate foreign wrestling heels because they think that we think they're heels.
Yeah, they're not.
I
know clearly this is an act. Jinder doesn't actually think these things about people, okay?
Yeah, seriously. People are kind of sick of it. It's like, not to mention some of those evil foreign heels kind of have a point.
Yeah.
They did get screwed over at points in history, and it's kind of like,
yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like a lot of wrestling fans, they don't give us enough credit, I feel.
Yeah, because I think people feel that wrestling is for people of the lowest common denominator.
Yeah. People like those, like a mouth-breathing southern redneck, like, get those damn foreigners out my damn country.
Southerners, Northerners, anybody who is it's basically wrestling has been perceived as something for the working class to enjoy, for the filthy commoners instead of, wrestling is for everybody. The last 50 years has clearly shown that everybody is interested in pro wrestling now. The AE era broke that stereotype open Like Steve Austin throwing a stunner on Vince McMahon.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously, you had so many yuppies in the AA.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And those people are still there to a degree.
Yeah. Yep. But you know.
I really enjoyed this main event match. It did exactly what it had to do, and I also loved the post match celebration. Jinder was fighting off tears.
Yeah.
He was trying to stay in character, and he was fighting off tears the entire time. I can't believe I won this thing.
Yeah.
And I know it's scripted, but to a guy like Jinder who has been working as hard as he has to get back into WWE, to see him win this championship belt, even if it's just for 30 days, folks, because remember, Jinder might not hold the belt for very long. He might hold it for 30 days. He might hold it for 6 months. We'll see what the stories go from here. Let's see what Jinder can do with this. Because I think he certainly will do a heck of a lot better than Randy Orton's last run.
At the very least, he can't do worse.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I don't think it'll be too much better.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be very slightly better, maybe, or about the same.
So yeah, I mean, Backlash worked for me. I really enjoyed this card. For you who watched Evolve '85, that was an awesome show, and
This, not really. No, it
yeah.
was not very good.
Mhm.
There was stuff I liked on it. It was just a lot of meh whatever. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking of the news that we were talking about a little bit earlier, yes, CMLL, they pulled a AAA this week.
yeah, two of their champions. Because, and seriously, if you don't know anything about Mexican wrestling, CMLL has like 20 something different championships. I'm not even exaggerating. They have 20. I want to say like 28 different championships. And yeah, they're world heavyweight champion and their world light heavyweight or their world lightweight.
But whatever, one of those
Yeah.
belts.
Yep. Those two are part of a wrestling family called the Alvarado.
Avararios.
Yep. And one of their members recently died, and he was co-head booker with Ultimo Guerrero, who is
Yep.
also a wrestler in CMLL.
Yes,
This,
that would be Brazo de Oro.
yes, or the Golden Arm in English.
Yep.
And this man, Golden Arm, was also the head of the Wrestlers Union. These two people, Maximo Sexy, who was the world heavyweight champion for CMLL, and La Mascara, who was their world light heavyweight or world lightweight, one of the two champion.
Mm-hmm.
They were, one of them was the son.
Yes.
La Mascara was the man's son, and I believe Maximo Sexy was his nephew.
Yep.
They were mad because Ultimo Guerrero was made head of the Wrestlers Union when he died. They figured someone in their family would be named. So them and a few other people in their family trashed Ultimo Guerrero's car.
Yes, a nice, shiny 2016 Ford Mustang, for those of you who are unaware.
Yes. Those two, they were then promptly fired.
In a remarkably quick decision by CMML, they also fired Bobby Zavilia, who's also known as Bobby Z. Now, the important thing to note is, La Mascara is a part of Los Inaugurales. Bobby Zavilia was a part of the revived Los Revolucionarios stable.
Yeah. And Maximo Sexy was one of their most popular baby faces.
Yep.
This was a big, big deal.
Yes.
I honestly don't know what happens to them. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost certain Maximo Sexy goes to AAA, considering Psycho Clown is also related to them and he's in there.
And guess who else was wrecking on the car? Psycho Clown.
Yes.
So there's repercussions for AAA as well.
Yeah, Psycho Clown. I've heard rumors that Psycho Clown may actually be facing jail time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% on this, but
in addition, Psycho Clown was supposed to have a mask versus mask match with mask versus mask or mask versus hair versus Dr. Wagner.
Yeah, at CMLL's big show,
at AAA's big show, Triple Mania.
AAA, yeah, AAA's big show. Think of it as like their WrestleMania.
Yep.
That match might not happen now.
Yes, because Dr. Wagner is good friends with some of the people in the Guerrero's family.
Yeah,
And he might
also,
not be particularly happy about this happening.
yeah. So this is a whole messy situation. Um, I have no idea what happens to any of them. I mean, looking just based on who they are, I think they're. See, I'd want to say there might be some interest for WWE and La Mascara, to help for him to get with Andrade Cien Almas.
hmm
Although I don't think him wrecking someone's car is a good look.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But this was a very interesting situation, and one I'm kind of like, what the heck, guys? Come on, because Maximo Sexy, he's very entertaining,
hmm
but it was not good at all.
Yes. So here's the thing. At this point, Nitro, another wrestler, is currently the head of the union until December. They will have a vote on who's going to become head of the union at that time. Ultimo Guerrero is not yet in the union yet, but he probably will get the votes.
Yeah,
In this case, Ultimo Guerrero gains a lot more power within CMML because now the Avarios are gone.
yeah,
AAA, which we have noted over the last couple of years, has become a literal fire.
yeah. It's really gone downhill in quality a lot. They'll probably get the Alvarados,
Yep.
which there's a lot of talented wrestlers in there.
Yes, they will get Maximo, who will rename himself as Maximo and La Mascara, and they will join up with Psycho Clown. If Psycho Clown isn't facing jail time by then, which he probably will.
Yeah. So, this is not a great situation.
Yes, in addition, by the way, Psycho Clown did this unmasked.
Yeah.
That is a major no-no in the world of Lucha Libre.
Yeah. This whole situation is just. I remember seeing it and I'm like, are you kidding me? And, one of the things I don't get is, like, why they were. If they're so mad that Ultimo Guerrero is the new head of the union.
Well, Ultimo Guerrero insulted Brazo de Oro because of some skeevy things that Brazo de Oro had done while head of the union.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't, I didn't really get that, because I was thinking they were co-head bookers. I had imagined they were on at least relatively decent terms.
Yes, but this is because this is the union,
Yeah.
this time around, not the booking position. Whereas I think Guerrero was basically the head booker at that point.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's an interesting situation, one full of fun, for lack of a
Yes.
better word.
And we'll be keeping an eye on this situation as it continues to develop. For those of you who might be interested in this story, go read the story over at either Lucha World or Lucha Blog. They have got several articles up at this point about this particular story. And also, Cage Side did an article, Reverend Kane posted up an article recently about the situation as well.
Yeah. So, no shortage of controversy this week either.
Yep. One major positive, though, an update on the sumo card. Takayatsu is most certainly now going to be the next Ozeki.
Yep, he needed to get 10 wins this tournament. He is now sitting at 11.
Yes, because he just beat Hiromu Fuji on the last day, on this current day of the tournament, which I believe would be day 13.
Yes.
So there are 2 days left in the tournament. Hakuho currently has a lead with an undefeated record, although he could potentially lose his last 2 matches and be forced into a playoff with one of the other wrestlers.
Yep.
And it's looking like a Hakuho Basho, but let's see how the last 2 days go, because anything can happen in the world of sumo, much like anything can happen in the world of wrestling.
Yep, you can have great matches, you can have bad matches, and you can have people wrecking someone's car.
Yes. So, okay, NXT TakeOver Chicago, better than I expected. Backlash, really good show for me, not so much for everybody else,
Yeah.
But then again, I do love it when I'm at the times when I'm in the minority opinion section on a show like this.
Yep.
Because I'll often have a different perspective of what I think is about these shows, and that's the thing about pro wrestling is you have so many people who have so many different opinions on wrestling. I mean, Sal, he didn't like most of the matches on this card except for Breezango Usos and a few others.
Yep.
And that's what's great about pro wrestling is that we have these kind of different opinions, and I really enjoyed this particular show, and we hope that you enjoyed this particular edition of Wacky World of Wrestling. Um, Next week, I guess we start prepping for Extreme Rules, huh?
Yep. Hopefully, it'll be better than this show.
And how ironic is it that a Raw pay per view would actually be, like, remember ages ago that people were complaining about Raws?
Oh Lord, yeah. No, the last Raw pay per view was better than this one for me by a million miles.
Yep. But
So
we'll see where this goes from here. For those of you also might not necessarily be aware, I did my 40th podcast last week. I was a surprised guest on CSL's NXT review show with the great Sean Reuter and Dia. If you want to go check that out, that's also available on the Cage Side YouTube page. And like I said before, Speaks will happen next week if I can get a full crew together. We can talk about the reactions, because there are two reasons why I decided to postpone this show. First, I said before, Memorial Day weekend is coming up, and I would like people to enjoy the Memorial Day weekend without having to worry about having to do a show. Second ring, we need to see the reaction from The Great Betrayal.
Yep.
And from what I'm hearing from the spoilers, that's going to be the first thing that's going to be addressed.
Yep. So,
Yeah, so we'll see what happens then. Until next week, folks, this has been William Fitzpatrick. You can follow me on Twitter at Fitzpatrick14.
And this has been Sal Kuzmano. You can follow me at Sal_Kuzmano, all lowercase.
Mm-hmm. And we will be posting updates. We'll be posting the videos on the Twitter, the usual places that we post these shows at. And we hope you have a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. Please keep your thoughts and prayers for the victims of the Manchester bombing that happened this past week or so. We here at Wacky World of Wrestling offer our condolences to those who live in the UK who are dealing with this tragedy.
Nothing but love and support to the victims of this senseless tragedy and all of their families.
Yep.
But you can't keep a good city like Manchester down.
Yep, they were walking around, and then just they were doing things as normal as they did the very next day. And then we our hearts are with you, and we hope that this podcast got some life and some joy into your day today. And we'll see you next time for the next edition of Wacky World of Wrestling. It's going to be Lucky 13 next week. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen, and we hope you have a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. Bye.
See ya.